So last time I was in here, we were talking about Norseman, which seemed like a pretty crazy ultra endurance event. But then now I turn around today, about a month later, we're talking about an even crazier, more extreme endurance event. So why don't we go around and introduce ourselves, and then we'll talk about Ultraman.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Walt.
You're
That was a
welcome.
great video last time. And thank you, Armando, for
Yeah.
being here. And we got Boris in the back here helping us. So Fernando Lopez here, and I done some races and some Ultramans. That's what we're gonna talk about today. I've been a coach as well. I have not coached people to do Ultramans. I gave advice to some people, but maybe not full training. And yeah, excited to talk about one of the most challenging events on the planet, I think.
Sure.
If not the most challenging one.
Yeah. One of the most extreme.
Yeah, me, I'm Armando Armelini. I am a triathlete. I'm a coach as well. During the day, I'm an executive coach. And on my spare time, I'm a triathlete coach, but not spare time. Just I coach athletes, usually executive who like to get involved in sports. And yeah, Ultraman is a race that really sounds a little bit like a cliche that changed my life. One that summarizes a lot of things that I love, like a family, team, what in their words, Ohana, Kokua, and Aloha. It's just a race that takes all those factors in addition to the physiological challenge of biking, swimming for 10 miles, biking for 270, and then running for 52 miles.
Yeah, seems incredible. The vibe for Ultraman when you meet somebody, it's amazing to have two sitting here in Houston. But you can go to a bike ride or a run and meet somebody did the Ironman. Pretty common. It's a bucket list for a lot of people. You'll see people with the Ironman shirt, but it's not that common. It's very infrequent to meet somebody who's done an Ultraman, but even more so, many of them. And it doesn't seem like a bucket list type of an event. It seems more like maybe a lifestyle or a journey, something bigger than actual swim, bike, and run.
Yes, definitely. It is a journey, is a lifestyle, is all of it together. Is for me, it's almost the culmination because I'm not finished yet at all. But it's it's one of the things where I never realized I could do such a thing. A 3-day event, almost 3 Ironmans together, and everything that implies, and how difficult it is to even organize it and be able to be there. All of that is even maybe more so than the race itself. So getting the support crew, getting time from your work. I'm also a professional in have a full-time job, so and family and so on. So it's a sacrifice, right? So, and you're right. It's fascinating that having at least two people, right here that have done this, and Armando have done all of them, I think. So
yes,
he's a big guy.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah. What is like, and you talked a little bit about it, Armando, but what does Ultraman really represent to you? You said family, you said Ohana, because it is a sacrifice of your time, your energy. You need support from your family, your job. You're putting yourself out there. You're putting yourself in some pretty extreme conditions. Swimming 10K alone seems like a major, right? And so what does it mean? What does Ultraman really mean to you to want to go back to it over and over again?
Yes. I think there are many factors. One of them definitely, probably, if you don't know much about Ultraman, the first thing you want to do is because I think, or the first reason is because that seems to be the logical next step from Ironman. Like, okay, I did an Ironman, I did 3, 4, 5:10.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
Yeah.
That's usually what a lot of
Yeah.
people
Start
know.
with, yeah.
And then if you go, one thing is that you cannot go to the World Championship in Hawaii without having to qualify, which means you have to do another race before. At the moment, there is Ultraman Florida, Ultraman Arizona, and Ultraman Canada.
That's it.
As the other races. Yes, those are the Ultraman branded that stay together. And so that means that before you go to Hawaii, you have to do one of those. And in my experience, once you do one Ultraman, you either get it or you don't get it.
Yeah, something clicks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you get it, is the spirit of Ultraman. I'll give a little bit of background of where
Yeah, love it.
Ultraman started in Hawaii in the 80s, and it started as a just a triathlon to go around the island, and therefore the distances. It's just random. It was how it took 10K was to swim from Kailua to the park.
Yeah.
And then 90 miles was to go up to the volcanoes.
Nice.
And then the next day 2 is to go from the volcanoes to Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's 170 miles.
Wow.
And day 3 is 52 miles, which is exactly from Hawaii to Kona, to the old airport. And so it started a long time ago, and it was founded in three foundations of the Hawaiian culture, which is aloha, which is love, the universal love that humans have for each other. Ohana, which is family,
Yeah.
and the third one is kokua, which is support, community for each other. And that is the spirit of Ultraman. So first, when you go there as an athlete, you have to bring your own crew.
Yep.
So that's your family, immediate family. And you and your crew are highly encouraged to support other athletes. If you're on your bike and you have a flat, anybody can come and help you.
Nice.
Equally, if you are crewing and you see an athlete in need, you're highly encouraged to support that athlete. It's not like other races. Well, if you receive any external help, you're disqualified. So that once you are involved in that for a weekend, like 3 days, 3 very intense days, it gets inside
in
of
your
you.
blood.
Yeah, and you can't. So then if you have the aspirations of going to the World Championship, you go to Hawaii, and you kind of see where it all starts.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's what it represents. It represents all that, like the community, the family, and of course the challenge for myself. Like, you're always trying to do better, to do your best, and the people, the friends that I have met and known, and man, those are friends for life. Really.
It's funny. It's like, it's you don't mention PRs, you don't mention splits, you don't mention those. It's deeper than that for you than maybe an Ironman or a 70.3. So this thing seems so, like, for the normal person, even I've done an Ironman, this thing seems so daunting. How do you go? How do you start this process when somebody says you got to go around the entire island, the Big Island?
Yes, Big Island.
There's only how many competitors?
It's limited to 40.
40. So there's no aid stations. They're not blocking roads. You are dependent solely on your crew, right? So how does that logistically, that seems like a pretty, aside from training alone, but just logistically, how do you go about getting your support team?
Yeah, I think the logistics and the whole journey before the race is, like I said before, probably harder than the race. Although the race is pretty hard, but it's a lot that you have to juggle around to make it happen, right? So besides everything I mentioned before, the family, the work, all of that is the training part, right? So it's not that simple to, for somebody like myself, you guys know that I'm not the best swimmer. I swim okay, finish in the middle of the pack in an Ironman. But swimming 6 months is another beast for me. I must admit that my first Ultraman was last year, was Florida. I barely swim before, so I don't recommend that for anybody.
I can't imagine.
I barely swim, but then I paid the toll for that. it was almost 5 hours in the water. But then, training for the, for a triathlon, you train for that sequence of events, one back to the other one. But here is, yes, the first day is true, but then you going to the hotel or your Airbnb and you rest and you eat and all that, and then ready for next day. That's not simple. Some people say that's easier because you read, but I don't think it is easier by any means, and especially for the third day when you have to run 2 marathons together after 2 days of torture. Training for such a thing is definitely much more than mental than the training itself. You have to, your mind has to be ready for such a thing, which is an evolution of what I came from, and Armando's the same. You can probably try to do one of these after a full Ironman, but I would recommend that you do a few before you tackle such a beast. I think Armando will share most of what
I share a lot of what you say. That's true. It's a challenge. It's not just, and you said, how do you manage that the crew? And it takes a lot of. First of all, a recommendation is always bring somebody who can be hands on.
Yeah.
Who knows what not necessarily has to be an athlete, but who can understand that the athlete is the priority.
Yeah.
And you are there to serve the athlete.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that the crew need to do,
Oh, that's an endurance event in itself,
exactly.
Right?
It's not just following
how many out? They're out there all day too. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. But even before and after, because the athlete wakes up, and the crew usually wakes up earlier to have breakfast ready, to have the van packed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you finish, you go back to the hotel or wherever you're staying.
Yeah.
Your crew keeps working.
Yeah, exactly. The athlete have a shower, eats, and
puts her feet up.
Put feet up. That's a priority for the athlete, but the crew needs to clean, just get organized and get prepared for the next day.
That's an excellent point, because that's what my wife Andrea says. Like, you go to bed, but I keep working and cleaning and getting ready for you for next day.
That's a testament of your marriage to survive that.
That's right.
That's
no. The crew itself deserves more than a medal. I mean, it's unbelievable the effort, and somebody willing just to do that. You guys have
it's like an F1 team.
So I have about to say that, but you said it's it's bigger, so I'm not gonna get much credit, but I have seen the race from the other side as well.
You've been
crew, after the first time I did it, I was so taken by the race that I thought I have to come back.
Yeah, it's
and
good.
So I have been going ever since my first race to the races crewing.
Yeah.
If I'm not racing, I'm crewing.
You're crewing.
Yes.
In Hawaii.
In Hawaii, in Florida, in Arizona as well.
Oh, wow.
And it's rewarding.
Yeah.
Definitely, just helping. Especially, I have had the opportunity to crew for athletes of all athletic abilities.
Yes.
And it's equally exciting helping someone who really has plenty of doubts whether they're going to finish. Mm-hmm. It's as rewarding as just crewing for the winner of the race.
Right.
It is just crewing is as special as racing.
Yeah. So we have as we talked last time, Fernando, you've done 200 races, right? You've done the Ironman 20 times?
A little more, yeah.
Okay. Extreme amount of times. How many times have you completed the Ultraman at this point?
So I've done Florida, and then I did Ultraman World Championship, and then this year I did Ultraman Arizona. So 3.
And you have one in the future coming up?
Of course. I don't know which one, but yeah. The one around here is Canada, but then there are a few similar races in other countries, so I need to look into that.
So you're continuing on. And Armando, you've done...
I have started 7 Ultraman.
Yeah. Amazing.
And there is one that I crossed the finish line a few minutes past it.
So that's sort of a finish.
In the record, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a DNF, and I keep it as a DNF, but
let's count it in. It should be part of the
my purpose. That was part of a larger project that I had. That was in 2022. That I wanted to complete all 4 Ultraman races in one calendar year.
It's amazing.
And yes, on the last race, I fall short of the cutoff, and I crossed the finish line a few minutes past there.
But you really completed in the year 2022.
Yes,
essentially 4
yes.
Ultraman.
That,
That's
that,
incredible.
that day
That's
after
amazing.
not completing the one, I was very, a
Yeah.
roller coaster of emotions. It
For
was
sure.
really part of disappointed. And
Mhm.
the beauty of the Ohana, of the
Mhm.
family, I had so many words of support. And one of my friends just told me, listen, a jacket doesn't define you.
No.
By that minute, you always get a jacket when you finish as
Yeah.
a finisher. And that kind of put things into perspective. Then my coach, a guy I was working with and coached me through this
Mhm.
process, he told me, listen, your goal was to complete all
Yes.
4. And
Yes.
you
You
completed
did
it. Yes,
Yeah.
you did it. So that kind of
The
put
time
things
was
into
right.
perspective. And I said, okay, but let me go to bed and I'll
Yeah.
tell you tomorrow if I continue.
Yeah, the
But
spirit of it.
It's this race in particular. The time really doesn't matter. There is this cutoff, but it's almost irrelevant. Nobody cares much about
Mhm.
this race. Is not the typical Ironman of having certain times and competing. You competing to yourself, definitely.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
And-
Well, just one little thing. I think the way I've always seen it is like, I think there are 3 types of 3 races within Ultraman. You have at the very top, maybe 2, 3, 4 athletes that are there for the win.
Yeah.
Then you have the big in the middle, like everybody who's just, they know they can finish.
Mhm.
They've probably done several and they want to do better than the previous one. And then towards the end of the pack, you have the ones that really, really want to finish.
Yeah,
And
just
the
gotta
ones
go.
that have doubt
Mhm.
whether this is with their capabilities, and the race is the same for everybody.
Oh yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah.
everybody goes through the
Yeah.
same emotions.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I just,
Oh yeah.
after having, been at so many races and talked to so many athletes, you realize everybody goes through the same emotion.
Yes.
Whether you are heading
In the front.
The-
In the front.
the front or you are at the back, just
Yeah.
with the sweeper behind you.
Yeah, the sweeper. I'm trying to kind of wrap my head around, because we'll kind of talk about the days. So I'm trying to wrap my head around how that feels and looks, and I think that
Oh, it
brings
feels
some of the
amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels amazing. If there is one race where you create friendships
Yeah.
and deeper than in other races, because I made friends in Ironmans and extras, but this one is so close, and there is so much time that you spend together with the other crews, and they have to help each other.
Yeah. Super unique.
In most cases, the crews had to, figure out things together, and so yeah, the friendships, and now actually our friendship comes
Yeah,
from
that's
Ultraman. So
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was volunteering at the
And
race in
that's-
Florida.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a roster of all the athletes, so I just had the names, and I was doing giving all the credentials to Fernando, and
Yeah.
I asked him, "Where are you from?" And I live in Houston.
Yeah.
I live in Houston too.
There's no way.
we both speak Spanish. so
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
do that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, we both speak Spanish.
Yes. That's funny. So let's break the first day down. It is we know it's a 10K swim, right? And then it's also, you're going to bike 90 miles.
That's the first day.
That's day one. So let's break that down. You're swimming a 10K. Obviously, 6.2 miles in the water. You're going to have some sort of support.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there's not. Put it in perspective, the Ironman swim 2.4 miles. This is
It's mandatory to have
Almost triple.
somebody on a kayak next
Okay.
to you, and there are some rules about it. The
right.
kayak cannot help you. Only it can help you, but it cannot
Propel.
Propel, right.
Thank you. But it will definitely can give you water or
For sure.
to
Yeah.
eat.
For
Yeah.
sure.
But I should have taken
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's the whole thing about that is special as well. You have to have somebody willing to be on a kayak for
Yeah, what's the range of time? The fastest swimmer to maybe the
Fastest let's say 2:30.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's
Wow.
those are those are elite swimmers.
Sure.
I think the cutoff usually is around 6 hours.
So 2.5 to 6 hours.
Yes. Sometimes I think the swim cutoff is a discretion of the race director
Right.
because there is a bike immediately. So if they know an athlete is strong and can make the final cutoff 12
Right.
hours, sometimes the race director allows a little bit. But let's say officially, you should be out of the water
In
by
6
6
hours. So there's a cutoff, a day one cutoff,
Correct.
and that is
12 hours.
12 hours.
Every
from-
day.
Every
Every
day.
day is 12 hours.
Okay.
Yeah, but he can make it up on the bike, Fernando.
Yes.
Just teasing. But okay, so that day one.
That's right.
So you're going out on a say 4 hours, 4.5 hour swim day, right? So you have to prepare for that. I don't even know how you would train for that, but that in itself is huge. And then you're turning around and getting on the bike for 90 miles.
Correct.
90 miles. What does that look like from like a
So
physical point?
yeah, the swimming really, I think, destroys you. Pretty much.
Yeah.
For in my case, I'm not the best swimmer again. But it's just long. Being in the water for that long is like torture.
Does it spread out? Are you swimming? Because in a lot of these
nobody's
races.
next. There is probably one or two people.
Yeah,
there,
well,
so-
same as Ultraman is, I forgot the right word, but it's sanctioned by USA Triathlon.
Okay.
So it means that all the rules of
Everyone.
long distance triathlon apply.
As far as drafting on
Yes,
the bike,
you can-
assistance.
Correct.
Yeah.
You cannot draft on the bike. You cannot draft on the swim. So kayaks can maybe next to each other, but you cannot.
You can't sit
You
behind
can
it.
behind it.
Ah, interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So
But you have to have some sort of hydration. You have to have some sort
Yeah,
of
the
carbs.
kayaker will have prepared by you and your
Yeah.
coach, and the kayaker will have everything you may need for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we are very different athletes here.
yes, we have different. I think that Fernando can do the whole
Yeah.
swim without anything.
It's incredible.
I tried.
incredible.
I took some jets. The kayaker took some jets and some
Yeah.
things to eat and to drink, and I only stopped for water a couple
Yeah.
of times. I couldn't ingest anything.
Yeah, that's superhuman.
Yes.
So, yeah.
For me, I tried to, and that's when I did my first one. This is the advice I got.
Yeah.
And it worked, and so I just keep using it. But it stopped probably every 30 minutes.
Yeah. To hydrate.
And just get a,
and
yes.
gel.
Usually I get a calorie, quite concentrated bottle.
Yeah.
And I get because I lose track of time.
Yeah.
And so the guy sets a timer, and every 30 minutes, he or
Stops
she
you.
tells
You
me
should
when
have
to
told
stop.
me that.
Are there buoys set up to guide you, or are you sort of
It
self-guided?
depends on the course.
Yeah.
Like Florida, Arizona, Canada, and Hawaii are all different
Yes, I can
swim
imagine
courses.
that. Yeah.
There are not many buoys though. There is
Yeah.
like 3 or 2.
Yes, well, it depends. Florida and Hawaii, because weather conditions on race days have changed in the past. So once they had to turn it into a like
Loops.
a circuit, a loop,
Yeah.
and so they had to put the buoys to mark the loop.
But they're far away, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Canada,
10K. 10K.
Canada is on a lake that is completely flat, and you see the finish line from
From-
the start.
Straight shot.
Straight.
What
shot.
lake is that? That's not Penticton.
Okinawa.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in
Wow.
Penticton.
No sharks either. That's
No. It's
Because
beautiful.
Hawaii, Florida, are you worried about sharks ever or not?
No, Florida, it's in a lake, so
Oh,
you're just
okay.
worried about
Hawaii.
gators, but-
And in
Yeah, Hawaii,
Hawaii-
you're along the coast. I
In
guess.
Hawaii, when I came out of the water, I saw the stingers.
Yes.
Yeah, stingrays.
Stingrays.
Yeah.
Stingrays.
So you're out there say 4 hours.
4 hours.
4 hours about average
Average,
swim. And then now we have now we've got 8 hours to complete a 90-mile bike ride. Is there a wetsuit on the swim?
It is.
It is, even in the warmer temperatures of
Yes.
Hawaii.
Yes, it's optional because
Okay.
it's not hot past the point of.
time of year, maybe
Yeah.
makes it cooler.
No, I think the USAT rules are above certain temperature.
Gotcha.
It's banned.
Right.
So in Hawaii, it's always in that range where it would be optional.
Okay. Do you wear a wetsuit?
It's a
Yes.
You
it's
wear a wetsuit,
Yes, it's a very difficult decision to make of which
Yes.
because you know, in Hawaii, for example, you might think it's warm enough, but then you are so much time in the water that you
Yeah.
get cold.
Really?
You know, yes, that's my case.
Even in a wetsuit.
No, well, no. In my point is that in Florida, I think it was, I went with the sleeveless,
Yeah.
and because I don't remember the temperature. Maybe you remember.
It was 55 degrees, but it was in February.
Yeah, so, and that's a big mistake for me.
Yeah.
It was cold. I
Yeah,
was
that's
freezing, so,
freezing.
yeah.
So then you prepare, you get out of the water. Now you have a 90-mile bike ride.
Yes.
Uh,
In the meantime, while you are swimming,
Yeah.
the crew is preparing everything.
For the
So
bike.
they are having the bike, your nutrition,
yeah.
and they themselves have to be ready to just
To go.
start following.
Take
you.
off.
So the transition area looks like minivans with a bike and all the people running around and
Yes. Well, usually the vehicles are separated.
Okay.
So you have to bring everything from the van, put it on the transition.
There is a
area.
transition.
There is a transition.
Okay.
area, yes.
okay. And then when you come out of the water, are you coming out with other people? Are you coming out by yourself? There's only 40
That's a
of
good
you,
question.
right? There's only 40
If
of
you're
you.
lucky enough to swim with a group, then
Yeah.
you come with
Yeah.
other people. Sometimes
Yeah.
I have comments just like,
Empty.
wow, where is everybody?
Right. And then you get on your bike and you know, okay, I've got 90 miles, which is a pretty good
Yeah.
distance on top of a 10K swim. And you're riding, but you're riding on open roads, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you have
And
to, yeah.
That's one of the reasons as well why it's limited to 40
Okay.
participants, because the race takes place on open roads.
Yeah.
It's unlike an Ironman where they can close the road.
Way
and
different.
just- it's all
Yeah, you
yours,
sit
it's-
down and go.
Yeah, so it can't imagine just having 100, 200 people
No.
on the open road.
What if there's a red light? You stop?
You stop. You have to follow the rules of the law.
There is that rule, and then the rule of the crew. They can only leapfrog you, meaning that they have to be ahead of you on the side of the road, in specific places, and to be safe and so on. They cannot follow you. You cannot be being recorded or anything like that.
Drafting
So it's
and all that,
drafting or anything like that. So you solo all the time until you see your crew that stop for you
Right.
to give you whatever you need.
And you have pre-designated, hey, come and stop, at mile 20, 40,
Armando probably
60,
does.
and you'll work your way and you
Yeah,
break it
again,
up.
that depends on the athlete
Yeah,
and the crew. There are athletes that tell their crew, just go 15 miles ahead and I'll see you.
And
Just don't. And others that it's just like, I want to see you every 5 miles. Or
Wow.
That depends.
wow.
When I have crew, unless the athlete tells me the opposite, I always want to have the athlete in eyesight.
Yeah,
Because if they have a flat,
yeah,
even if I'm ahead, at least I can turn around.
and see.
Like I know, okay, well, 5-10 minutes past, he or she's not here, I can turn around and
Wow.
go back. If I'm 15 miles ahead, it's very unlikely that
And time is,
I will know.
yeah,
Exactly.
On that note, you
Yeah.
are allowed to you are advised to take your phone with you, and I did have a flat, and I'm sure you probably did have, but I did have one, and I called my crew, and they were, a few miles away, and they came, and when they came, I was fixing the flat.
Yeah.
But you had a phone, right?
yeah, to
call.
get help.
Yes, you can bring.
So what are you thinking? So you're on your bike now. You've got 90 miles. You've got the swim on your body. It's tough on you, right? You've been out there in the water. Are you thinking about today? Finish 90 miles on this bike, 12 hours, blah blah blah. Or are you thinking ahead tomorrow, the next day? I mean, how far ahead are you thinking? Are you thinking 15 minutes ahead, or are you thinking 2 days ahead?
Good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think we're different there, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I always, before starting the day, you have to trust a plan.
Yeah.
So you have a plan. If
Yeah.
it's true that everybody
Yeah.
has a plan until they get punched
Until
in
you
the
get
face.
punched, yeah.
But if you have a plan, you kind of say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do tomorrow. This is what I'm gonna do tomorrow, and then the next day. So the plan for the day, that's what's on my plate that day. That's what I need to negotiate, and that is when I consider how much effort I might put or not.
Right.
So as far as the day goes, I'm focusing on the
So
day.
you're just locked
Yes,
in on
yes,
day
yes.
1, 90 miles. That's the end of the day.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm almost like Armando, but I don't have el plan.
You guys are different.
I'm
We can
more-
talk about that.
Yeah, I
too.
think it's
Both
important.
work, but yeah.
it's
Yeah,
both work, that's
I
it.
really don't. I
Yeah.
really don't have a plan other than finishing. And
Mhm.
but I think on that, it's a good question because I never thought of that way. I'm on that day, on that second, on that minute. I'm not even at the finish line yet until I start thinking of the finish line. But the finish line of that day,
Yeah.
I never think about the next day. So yeah.
Yeah. Because what you do on that 90-mile bike, how hard you push, how you hydrate, that affects. It's cumulative all the way down the road.
I mean, we
Yeah.
talk about 3 days, but
Yeah.
really you have to, it's a one event.
Yeah.
It's one event with 3 parts.
Right.
So whatever you do in each of those parts
Yes.
will affect the others.
Yeah.
So even as you say, nutrition or
Hydration.
calorie
Yeah.
intake, and if you are dehydrated on day one,
Yeah.
you
You're
will
gonna
pay on day 2.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cumulative.
Yes.
So day one, you get through it. It sounds daunting to the average person, the 10K swim and the 90-mile bike, but you're just getting started. That's day one check. You get in there within the 12-hour window, and you're happy, right? You feel accomplished, and your crew is there, and you're going to eat and shut down. You're now starting to think about day 2, right? That's already planning immediately. You cross the line. You tap a good job, but it's time to focus. And now, what is day 2? What's day 2 look like? What's the distance?
So day 2 is really daunting because 170 miles is a lot.
170 miles. How many K is it?
71.
What K is that?
Close to 250.
And on top of that, depending on the Ultraman, but let's talk World Championship, it's hard. You go through elevation, I don't remember the elevation probably.
Heat and humidity.
Humidity, and it's just long and hard, very hard. And those of us that have done Ironmans, it's a bit more than an Ironman.
Oh
right?
yeah, it's bigger than the entire Ironman.
60 more miles on the bike, right? And it's not that simple. Again, it's the same rules that we discussed in day 1 in terms of the crew, in terms of the everything else, lights, all the strict signals, all that stuff you had to follow. And I would say that second day, yes, I personally start thinking about a little bit of, okay,
Tomorrow. Yeah.
this is it. And
Last day.
that's probably the hardest day, the hardest part for me, because now it's like you're there, but you're not. But if you pass, you know that then you'll finish. I think that's the day when you'll know, at least in my mind. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think I can see you are a runner.
Yeah, we know this guy. Yeah.
And it's typical. You see, all triathletes, each runner has a strong discipline, or is strong at one of them.
Yeah.
And if you're a runner and you have your confidence on the run, you know, as soon as I'm off the bike, for me, it's as soon as I'm off the swim, like, okay, I can, quite likely I will finish this.
Yeah. What's the, so the Ironman at Kona just happened, right? Last weekend, 2 weekends ago, and they talk about the brutal conditions, the humidity, the heat, but they're really not climbing much elevation, right?
Go down for the first descent, I think it's around 20 miles.
Yeah.
So usually around 20 to 30 miles per hour is anything between 45 to 60 minutes. And then you go flat and you go around the south, the east side.
Up towards Hilo?
Yes, you kind of go, you descend, you go in the direction of Hilo, then you go away to what is called the Red Roads.
Okay.
It's a beautiful part of the island.
Yeah.
And then you go back through Hilo and start heading to Javi.
It's incredible.
So from Hilo to Javi, there are 2 big ascents, 2 big climbs.
Wow.
And so you mentioned all the elements. You see them all in one day. You see the heat, the humidity, the rain.
Well, that's what they say about the Big Island. The Big Island has the vegetation and the landscape of all of them, right? It has at the peak. It has snowy mountains.
Yes.
It has the lava rocks and desert like, and then Hilo is super green, and so you're actually experiencing all of that,
All of the climates.
all of the climates
And
in one.
you really do.
Right. Yeah.
Rain.
Yeah. Are you able to appreciate that, or are you just locked in? Are you in survival mode? Or
I tend to be the ones that smell the roses.
Yeah, and just
so
kinda-
occasionally I look around and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Sometimes
Yeah.
you're riding just by the coast
Yeah.
and you see the sea and it's like, wow, it's really
epic.
happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I hear myself breathing like,
Yeah.
it's happening.
It's really happening. Do you feel day one? How much of day one do you actually feel in day two? Right, because swimming is upper body, right? It's 10K of swimming, 4 hours or more. We don't know how much you're out there. You're using your upper body. You biked a little bit. Now you're assuming you're sitting in a triathlon TT position, right, for 171 miles with climbs and descents, heat. You're solo. You're out there on your own. How do you feel the cumulative effect already in day two?
I mean, you do, right? I'm lucky. My recovery is very good. It's exceptional. Other than the pain in my butt on the saddle,
Yeah.
I'm good in most cases. And for me, it's about warming up. And then once I warm up,
Then you're good.
I'm good. But yeah, I mean, of course, you take some of that. These are long days, minimum of, in my case, 9 hours every day. So you take a hit for that. Right?
Yeah.
And then you start getting the mindset of the next day, right? Which we'll talk in a second. So, and that start getting into your head a little bit, 2 marathons. And so you start like, okay, pulling back a little bit. And okay, now can I do this? Can I really do this?
Yeah. As a runner, you're looking forward to it. I would think for myself that it would be daunting to think of a double marathon the next day in the heat on top of everything. But if you back off a little bit, what kind of training goes into, because it's a cumulative event, right? What kind of training, how do you prepare yourself for that bike ride alone? 171 miles after 90 and a 10K swim. Like, are you doing 10-hour bike rides to prepare for this?
No, I don't think anybody does.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe occasionally you do the one, like there are different type of athletes, and they're the ones that need to experience the distance before to get confident, and there are others that don't. I'm more of the ones that want to at least have an idea. So maybe not a 10 hours ride, but maybe 8 or close to 70-80% of the whole distance.
Right.
I don't. I mean, past certain point, there are no benefits.
Yeah.
Other than mental and that confidence. So
yeah.
I would agree with that. By the way, that's my bike, right? The one I did the race with. But I prefer the consistency of the training rather than the volume. You guys know that, and I think that if you keep that consistency, you're ready for this, and because the consistency also gives you the mindset at the same time.
Yeah.
So I argue that you need to ride for 6 hours or something like this in training. I mean, although I race a lot, so I have that advantage of racing.
Yeah, I think both of you have that. You can race yourself into that. 4 of them in a year. Right. Well, I know I can do it. You have 7, 8 Ironmans a year. You have that sort of in your bank physically, but also the mental part. So then you finish that, and that ends where? Where does the
in Hawaii?
In Hawaii.
Yes, the small town Hawaii.
Yes, in Hawaii, the end of day 2 is in Hawaii.
Yeah,
and it's really nice because Hawaii is higher than Kailua.
Right.
Kona, so you're going to be going down.
So net elevation for the double marathon is downhill.
Yes.
Most of the time,
yeah.
Yes, there are two relatively intense climbs.
Right. And running downhill always isn't as good as you think.
It's not as easy as people think.
Right. The Boston Marathon is difficult because it starts downhill and it actually hurts you later on, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So there's some similarities to that.
Yeah.
So what does it look like? You finish, you rack now you're done with that bike. you don't want to see that bike for a long time, right? Just take the bike away from it. Yeah.
And I think the crew enjoys that as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if everybody makes different arrangements. Some people even want to stay in Kona for the whole 3 days.
Ooh.
It's a long back and forth, but some people do it. So I can imagine the relief of just going that night and leaving the bike. Just like
I never want to see that thing again.
But I think what's about to come for the crew is perhaps the most difficult day, I would say, because they had to stop more for the athletes. I don't know.
For the running
Yeah,
course.
but I think it also the other side is that you stop more often, but you
don't do as much.
Yeah.
So you can park for half an hour and you still see your athlete.
Yeah, but they being 8 hours, having crew, and but only 8-9 hours next to somebody is that's hard.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And one thing that we tend to ignore is that when you get out in and out of the car
Many times. Oh, yeah.
100,000
And you're in the heat, and and you're emotionally probably tired, and you have a lot of that on your shoulders, and we can get into that part as well. But now you're running, and running you can walk, which is nice. Swimming you can't.
You don't move, you don't go anywhere.
Right, swimming's dangerous if you stop. Biking, I guess you can coast, but walking, running is even in the regular Ironman. People walk a lot. That's part of the strategy. You almost have to, like taking calories and whatnot. But you completely depleted yourself for 2 days. Now you have a double marathon. Like this part seems to me, like Fernando said, is the most challenging day. You're probably. Well, you tell me. What do you go into? What's your as a runner and maybe as a cyclist? What do you go into that day with? Just get me to the end, survival mode. I mean, where are you with that?
I think completely different approaches. So I'm sure Fernando can.
So for me, again, there is no plan. My plan
is that sure. No plan.
My plan is
going to make another one.
Yeah, no plan is a plan.
I joke about no plan, nothing plan, no plan. For me, it's just I take off. You guys know me. I just take off regardless, and I don't think about the consequences of that or what I had done the previous days. I just take off, and the more competition there is, the more actually this happened in the World Championship. There was this guy, apparently he was very, very, very good and fast and younger and all of the above. And I just got close to him for as much as I could. I think it was like 7 miles or so. But we were running at
with the net downhill fast.
We were running at 7:30. I don't know. We were like he took off and I went behind. And that's my approach in all these races. Anyway, the mind there for me is I'm probably gonna crash soon, but it's a feeling of this is the last day. I'm gonna make it happen. And
there's that draw.
That's great. Yeah. And amazingly for me personally, and this probably doesn't sound arrogant. I this is the race where I did the best running.
So the other unique part, different than you'll see in a traditional triathlon, is that you will start day 3 all together, right? It's It's like a mass start every day.
Yes.
So as Fernando, as you talk about, you kind of reset. Now you're a runner. I'm going to go with the runners, and that kind of puts you out there.
Yeah,
it also gathers everybody back together, right? And as you talk about the spirit in the old Hana, and you're all 40 of you are in this together at that starting line. There has to be a special energy or feeling. You've all made it this far. We're going to do this. We know this is going to be hard, but what's that like?
Oh, amazing!
Yeah. From my perspective, I've always run at the back of the group.
Yeah,
I'm not a faster runner, and my focus has always been I need to get strong to the end.
Yeah.
So I start slow. And sometimes some races, a group forms and it's the atmosphere is so amazing that you don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
So I've been in a couple of races where I know I'm getting like a heart rate is going above what I wanted, but
Yeah.
it's like I don't want to lose this.
Yeah, there's power in numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And there is nothing to do with there are no records, there is no time.
Yeah.
It's just the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Like you really feel the camaraderie and that feeling is amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
But at some point, life just slaps you in the face, like,
Right.
dude.
And reality hits.
Yeah, reality hits, and then you well, at least in my case, I just have to choose my own race, and like I have to slow down, and but at least just
For some of it.
But also for those that are in the front, the camaraderie there is amazing. Even there, I was in Arizona. I was like. I was first, I think, in the run actually in this case, but
you don't have to be that much. So
we know.
You were the fastest that day.
Yeah.
But it was even the crew that was with the second person. It was the lady, the professional one. They were all friendly among us. There was no such a like I'm gonna beat you or anything like that. I mean. Then there was a little bit of in the Ultraman World Championship. There is Amy, I think it was, or whoever it was. That they find out that they could beat me if they went ahead in the run, and so they did play with that. But even that was kind of fun anyway.
Yeah. So it's done in a friendly way. Like, is that competitive?
Nobody
in a friendly
cares
way?
if somebody beats you. You go and you even congratulate the person.
Oh yeah, yeah. What's the attrition rate? A 40-star. What's typically?
What is it?
The finishing rate.
It depends from year and the condition. What the main thing usually is the weather conditions. I have been in Hawaii in years where the swim has been really difficult, and that really takes a toll.
Takes a toll that they don't make the cutoff.
Complete.
So
the cutoff.
The 12 hours.
The 12 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes kind of gets just under the
but most
right
people
time.
finish.
But yes, so let's say in a group of 40, it's normal to see anything between 5 to 8 DNF.
Yeah, which is pretty high.
Yes.
Considering.
One thing that we haven't talked about yet is that in Ultraman you can miss a cutoff one day. You can continue the next day.
Okay.
You will not be a finisher. You will be a participant.
Right. Still.
You don't get the jacket.
Yeah.
But you can finish.
But you can finish. And I think that two things that are really important. One, that tests the character of a person.
For sure. Why are they doing it? What does it mean to them?
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And the other one as well is just also there is the opportunity
for everybody.
The journey doesn't stop there.
Yes.
And most people will do that.
Yeah, and it takes a strong will and it's a true test of character.
Yeah.
How do they come up with the time limits? Do you know?
I think it was all about daylight.
Daylight, 12 hours.
Probably.
Yeah, I think so because the race started organically, like random. This is the distance. We're gonna go to the volcano, and then we're gonna get to
7 to 7.
Yes,
something like that. Right?
Yes, start at dusk and finish at dawn.
Yeah, that's incredible. So I think from my perspective, I can't imagine what that finish line feels like. I've done an Ironman. It's an amazing feeling when you cross that line. It's emotional, right? But what's that finish line like? What is it like crossing?
It's similar but different because it's a team effort pretty much. You don't do this solo. Ironman is you by yourself. This without your crew, you can't do this.
That's a good point.
And that's the first thing. The second thing, it is a bit more emotional, maybe coincidentally for me. The last one, my dad passed, and I just when I finished, I was like full of emotion. But then the finish is more about what we talk about, the ohana, the people receiving you there. And in fact, we didn't talk about what's his name, the person in the race. Through the race, there is somebody in the middle of the streets, in the middle of nowhere. How you say?
It's an announcer.
An announcer.
Yeah.
Really?
He would
It's,
say,
it's a legend.
Armando, yes, and it's amazing. And at the end, he's there, and it's incredible.
Oh, his
He
voice
said-
resonates. Yeah.
It's amazing. His name is Steve King,
Okay.
and he has been doing this for forever.
Yeah.
And he is the master of ceremony at the at the briefing
Okay.
the day before
Yeah.
the race starts.
Yeah.
Which is
He
amazing.
introduces each athlete. He knows the statistics of every single
Mm.
athlete. If you have raced before, he knows everything you have done. He researches. He really makes everybody feel
Mm.
not just included, but important.
Yeah.
And then he travels and he settles, he stops at different parts of
And
the
he's
course.
there.
And he is, even if there is nobody, he's still,
Yeah, you will hear his
yeah, and
voice.
there comes Fernando. And Fernando did this race and his best time in
Amazing.
Ironman. The
Amazing.
swim is 1:21. And
Does he go to each Ultraman?
yes, he does.
Wow.
Occasionally for, very, I guess, extreme circumstances.
Yeah.
He has missed one or two events, but
But he's
he's always,
he's part of it.
he is part of it. I think
Yeah.
that yes, Ultraman is and Steve King go,
Oh, yeah.
together.
Go hand in hand.
Yeah, and that's
Good point.
yeah, it's
That's
an excellent point. And you remind me of something very important in these ceremonies. Yes, he studied us so much because we have like an interview and he asks us questions and he take notes in the old fashion like this one. And and he'll then announce all these facts about you and it's incredible. So it makes part of the finish line. He's there and it's amazing because he'll bring up some of the most meaningful things that you mentioned to him, and I think he brings that up, and that makes it very special.
very personal.
Pays so
Yeah.
much attention to details
Yeah.
that matter.
Yeah,
So you might be crossing the finish line, and he reminds you that you said, "Oh, I wanted to dedicate this race to my deceased mother."
Right.
And then you're crossing the line, just crossing the finish line, thinking, "Oh man, I'm so tired." And you hear that, and it's like,
That's
wow,
right.
that's a very special
Yeah, that's
part
unique.
of the race. Yeah.
Unique. Yeah, that's one you'd have to experience.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. What do you like? What brings you back? What's your why on this? Fernando, when we talked, it was, one of my questions really to you was like, you keep elevating Ironman, Ultraman, X-Tri, this, that. What's your why on the Ultraman? I mean, it is unique. It is, it's more than extreme, and as we sit here and talk, it's not just extremely physically, it's extremely emotionally and mentally like that, just to be able to turn around and do that. And there has to be a higher calling or something that is kind of bringing you there,
Yeah.
I don't know if you can put that into words or even know what it is, but
it's a combination of all we talked about before. For any similar to an Ironman or any other meaningful event. Of course, this one is even more meaningful in that sense because it's just almost impossible, really. When you talk to somebody and you tell them what you're doing, it's not possible. So
they don't. Yeah.
And that for me is making that impossible possible, right? So it's just to make it happen regardless of the circumstances. And again, it's not just doing the race; it's everything before that. All that journey that you prepared to be there, all those sacrifices, all those changes that you made, and that's beautiful for me. It's like my wife Andrea says that I live many lives, and that's kind of living many lives at the same time. So for me, it's about living longer in a short period of time, or even more lives. And
it's a whole lifetime in that race.
It's a bit of that for me, right?
Yeah,
and then I think I mentioned this earlier as well. Is I need to learn to enjoy a bit more at the end, but I do in a way, and ready for the next one. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, for me, what brings me back is I think mainly is the Ohana. Like that family, it's like a reunion with the family.
Yeah.
Ultraman Hawaii happens always on Thanksgiving weekend.
That's great.
So it's like it's a family reunion.
So
It's a family holiday, family reunion. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then, it's very likely there are recurrent athletes at the races, so people. It's And it's a very special
Mm-hmm.
time, a very special race,
Yeah.
and for me, every race it's a new challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It can't be the same.
Yeah, it's never the same. Even if you go back to the same race, the same course, it changed. You have changed. You have grown, evolved as an athlete.
As a person.
Yes, as a person, and you probably bring in a different crew.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also different dynamics, different opportunities. There is also, that bond between athlete and crew, and it's just special.
So Walt will be ready to crew after.
Yes, I think you'll be
winning.
I'll start as a crew member. No, it's not. What I love, coming back is it is more about the people, the experience, the personal growth. The challenge, the bigger things in life, and bigger things with a deeper meaning than splits and times and PR. It just seems more dynamic.
Yes. There is some of that as well. There is some sometimes you always
if you're on a bike, you got to
exactly.
Right.
but it at some points it can take a second.
It takes a second
priority.
role.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't seem like a one and done to me. It seems like people want it. Once you do it, it holds you more than other events, right? And it brings you back.
Very addictive.
Something about that event is super special. Yeah.
So what about if you race and we crew for
There we go. As long as I have this bike, I think I'll be all right.
And then we tell him, we told you so.
Yeah. And then No, it's incredible. It's an incredible event, and you two are incredible. Not only athletes, but people, and what you're getting out of it is incredible. And to be able to share that, I think somebody would, benefit from sitting in the seat, just hearing it. It makes you kind of want to do it. A little scared, when you talk about a 10K swim, but what you pulled out of it for your life is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Thanks for facilitating the conversation.
Very essential.
The secret objective was to convince you to do it.
I love this. I learned a lot. I'm jealous.